Welcome to Sister Talk TV show. I am Deetra Kelsey. Today you are in the land of Wakanda. Our topic today is the phenomenal, record-breaking movie, The Black Panther. If you haven't seen it, you must see it, and I guarantee you will walk out of the movie theater high, off of vibranium, which is a good thing. Mark McPhee, Community Outreach Coordinator for Harlem Emergency Network. Sitting next to Mark is Lori Minor, actress, singer, playwright, and painter. Sitting next to Lori is Cherie Danielle, playwright of Diary of an Afro Goddess, actress, and actress on HBO Deuce. Sitting next to Cherie is Mike Sargent. He's the chief film critic, host of WBAI Radio. And sitting next to Mike is my sister friend, Veronica Kitt. She is CEO of the People's Film Festival and also the executive producer of Community Cop. And like I said before, if you all have not seen the movie, you must see the movie. But we have a trailer, so you could just look at it just a little bit.
I have seen God's fall. The revolution will not be televised. Show me my respect and bow down. We own ya, we own ya. We only get started now, cause we own ya. You gotta think they know ya, cause we own ya. You ain't not my own, cause we own ya. I waited my entire life for this. The world's gonna start over. I'm gonna burn it all. What happens now determines what happens to the rest of the world. You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and count out. What's going on for that? The revolution will not be televised. Let's have some fun. The revolution will be live.
Hey, how about that? That was very exciting, even the trailer. Like I said, you must go see the movie. What do you all think about the movie? Let's start with you, Mark. What did you think?
I think the movie was a great catalyst for bringing black people together. I think the movie showed the positivity of black folks. For once, we were not slaves. For once, we were not pimps and prostitutes and maids. So this whole feeling of Afrocentricity is very important for our people to feel, especially this time of the year. But we also have to remember that our history is not just one day, 1 week, or 1 month, but it's 24/7. It's the past, and it's the present, as well as the future.
How about yourself, Lori?
I love the movie. It was very inspiring, and like he said, brought tons of people together. I've gone to see it 5 times actually, with 4
5
different
times.
5 times.
That's good.
Yes.
That's great.
And and I've seen it with several groups of my friends, and it's really important to me to see the young children and see, you know, they get to see a superhero. You know, I was having a conversation the other day. There's a generation of children that grew up with a black president, you know, in their lifetime, and now with this giant superhero that, you know, they can point out and say, oh, I want to be this one, I want to be this one, and they're not just looking at a white person and saying, I want to be the black version of that. I can actually be
the
that
Black
character.
Panther. How about yourself, Jeree?
Same thing as her. Like, I love the movie. I remember going to like this big opening night right at midnight. So right at midnight on the Friday that it came out. Everybody was dressed in African attire. It was just such a good feeling. And the whole thing, back to the children, is that yeah, because that's a real thing. I mean, I remember hearing one of my little cousins looking at a Santa Claus that was white, and somebody said, "Well, why isn't he black?" And he said, "Santa can't be black." And so these things are important for our children. Like, they really don't see themselves as like big figures. So now we have a black superhero.
So what about yourself, Mark?
Well, I have to put in he's Mark, I'm Mike.
I'm
But
sorry,
this
you know,
is
I
gonna be
keep,
difficult. It's gonna be difficult.
I don't know
acknowledge
why I
it.
keep confusing you all
That's
too,
okay.
yeah.
But I have to put it in context, okay? I'm a film critic, but I'm also a filmmaker. I'm also what you'd call an Afrofuturist, okay? And so what this film does, more than besides being a good movie and a good superhero movie, is this changes the narrative. You know, you have to look at what film is. Film is probably the most popular entertainment medium there is. And what's the most powerful, most seen by everybody on the planet? It's science fiction. Science fiction, fantasy, or cartoons. So to have one with a black king, that's not just, he doesn't happen to be black like in a Will Smith movie, but he's proud of his blackness. His heritage is part of who he is. That's more significant than we even realize right now.
Right now, how about yourself, Veronica?
And I agree with everyone. Such a powerful film, and I love films. One of the key things about this is that it's so universal. Everyone on all different levels can relate and accept and embrace, because a lot of times when we have certain films, it's segmented in terms of, well, I'll go see that because I can identify, or I won't go see that because I can't, or whatever. And it really truly affects box office sales and things like that. But this is such a universal thing because we're dealing with Marvel, we're dealing with Disney. And superheroes. But everyone can accept and embrace, and there's something in the storyline in itself, you know, the highlights, and powerful. I love it.
I walked away a new person, as you all can see. I walked away a new person. It was phenomenal. It was exciting. It was good to see somebody, people that looked just like us, that were technology advanced. So forth. But let's take this phone call. Caller, you watch the Sister Talk TV show, and make sure you turn your TV down, please.
Hi, my Janice from Manhattan.
Okay, you're breaking up. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, we'll come back to you once they fix that. Okay. So, do you all think this is our Black Star Wars?
Absolutely. I think it's bigger than Black Star Wars. I mean, it's Black Star Wars in the sense that now Hollywood's going to finance films like this.
You think so, really?
There's no way they couldn't, because there's money. There's gold in them, there are hills. So just like any genre that becomes popular in film, all of a sudden you'll see a lot of things. You know, found footage is a genre now. After Blair Witch Project. It's a genre. There are all kinds of found footage films.
You said Blair Witch Project.
Blair Witch Project was what the first found footage film. Where that's a genre, where it's as if you found these tapes and you put it together to tell some story. You guys know what I mean. So I'm just saying, and that's a small version. Star Wars changed the film industry because, you know, and I think this will too. The whole idea of having black heroes, I mean, I could go on for a while, but it will break so many barriers and change so many things that we're living in a moment of history.
Anything is possible when I saw that, you know. Not only were they, did you pick up, I only saw the movie once, Laura, you saw it 5 times. Were there any supernatural powers? Because there was so many messages, so many things that I have to go back and see to pick up. Did you see that? I saw advanced technology, but I don't know about supernatural powers as far as maybe the dreams when he went back to see his ancestors. Did you see anything?
Yes, well, the heart-shaped herb was what they gave T'Challa to take to gain the power of the Black Panther. And then they also gave him something before he went to Challenge Day, to take it away so that he would have to fight, I guess, with his natural abilities. But Yeah,
y'all see anything?
I really like that as a spiritual aspect because I study Ifa, a part of African spirituality, and that's
Is that
very,
Yoruba?
Yes,
That's Yoruba.
and it's very similar to like the sort of things that you saw in Black Panther. Of course, you know Black Panther is more advanced, but as far as taking in something, eating it, and being symbolic, that's a deep spiritual thing from our ancestors that that I saw in this movie. So I also like that part. I like the acknowledgement of the ancestors because you don't see that a lot. They were honoring their ancestors, praying to their ancestors. So it was great to have that showcase to a wide range of people and children and not looked at as something bad or wrong.
Well, also the moment when he, what she mentioned, he gets his powers taken away.
Yeah.
When he gets them back, I mean, the whole tribe is involved. They're all giving their energy to what's happening.
Yeah, so
Gets
that's
challenged.
a natural
That's
power, it's
significant, and that's
supernatural.
very spiritual.
It takes a village, yeah.
Yes, it does.
I think that one of the things that I really appreciate about this film is the strong black women that were in that film and
Absolutely.
their dedication to protecting the king. Even what was it? I think it was
Killmonger?
yeah,
Killmonger,
or
yeah.
Killmonger. Well, he's another story, but I want to talk about the sister.
Right. Yeah.
And toward the end of the movie, she said, "You protect what you love," and so
Nakia.
she loved Nakia. Nakia, she so loved the king, and that she was willing to protect him, and not just that. The other women that surrounded him, they protected him at all times,
They sure
and
did.
that's a message to our black sisters. Because a lot of times, sisters they throw the brothers to the side, and the brothers are out there trying to fight the world, trying to deal with reality, trying to deal with putting food on the table, and so on and so forth. And
Something?
Can I say something?
Yeah, I'm gonna take this phone call.
Okay,
Because there's a segment that I really want to get into how the Africans treated their women compared to the world today. What do you think about the director, Ryan Coogler?
Right, Ryan Coogler.
Yeah,
Yes, he's amazing. And another thing that I love about him is that he's straight from Oakland. If you hear him speak, he talks like he's from
you from
Oakland.
Oakland? Yeah,
No, I'm from Atlanta.
Okay.
He talks like he's from Oakland. And, it's not even about the particular place, but he's from, not a uppity part of America. He doesn't speak like that. It takes away the persona that we have to speak a certain way, act a certain way to have a nice job, to do good things for our people. I love that he sounds like a rapper almost. If you hear him talk,
Yes.
he's very educated. He went to Africa, and he studied these things and took from his actual experiences of going to Africa and put that into his script and his direction. So I love him. Yes.
I wanted to ask, especially you, Mike, about who was up for directing Black Panther. It was Ava DuVernay. She turned it down.
Yes.
Ava DuVernay, she directed Selma, which brought in a lot of
And
money.
the upcoming A Wrinkle in Time.
A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
She turned it down because of they wouldn't compromise.
There
or,
were creative differences in terms of how she saw the film and how she wanted it to be. I think Ryan Coogler was the correct choice, clearly, because of who he is.
but how about Antoine Fuqua?
Antoine Fuqua? I think this movie needed to be directed by someone younger. That's what I think.
Really?
I
Wow.
do, because I think it represents the future, and it's about the future.
Is it about the future? I thought it was like present day. No, that's the you have to keep going back.
Really, it's present
Wakanda
day,
is futuristic.
It's futuristic,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
Okay.
I think you got a bit of that, and then the fact that he brought it back to Oakland, his home, and I think that was a lot of him, and that his little touch that he put on that, and especially how it ties into the actual real Black Panther Party.
So the movie itself was written by two white guys. I'm sorry.
No, the concept was
The
written by-
concept.
The concept.
Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the original character.
Back in
But
the
then later
60s.
on,
Back in the
two
60s.
black writers, one
Ryan.
of them being Reginald Hudlin,
Oh, really? I didn't know
updated
that.
it and brought in the Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje, yes.
Dora Milaje and the sister, Shuri, and a lot of aspects that we saw in this film.
Right.
But you have to give credit to Stan Lee, and the way I see it, he's an artist, he's a writer, he's going to be above a lot
Stan
of
Lee,
stuff.
okay.
He created a character that wasn't just a black guy, but he was a king.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a pretty powerful image in 1968.
So all of this was in the comic books.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the comic books, but the actual screenplay was written by Ryan Coogler and another black guy. The actual screen, I don't know.
I think his name was Stan Robert Cole. Joe Robert Cole.
Joe Robert Cole, correct.
Yeah.
So that's the actual screenplay
That's
that
right.
they took from the comic books.
So let's talk about the actors in the movie. I'm going to say my favorite one was Killmonger.
Why?
Dare I say that?
I know, right? I just threw it out
I mean, I
there.
can't really judge Killmonger because the black
They
man
said he
movie
got
was
in
so
shape.
beautiful. So I don't know if he was that great or if I was just distracted by how good looking he is. So I can't really comment on any of the male actors in the movie.
Yeah.
But my favorite actress in the movie was Denai, who played the lead general. I forget the name
The
of
Dormilaje.
Okoye or something like that.
Okoye.
So what do you think about the?
Well, what I think about Killmonger, he represents some of our brothers on the street today who's been jaded by the system. So a lot of times brothers become so jaded by the system that they start to think, you know what, it's not about our unity, it's about me getting mine.
Yeah.
And when so therefore, I'm going to sell the drugs or I'm going to conspire with the enemy.
Right.
And whatnot. And if it has to be against my people, so be it. But I'm going to make sure I take care of me. And I think that was because of the fact that he felt wronged by his people.
By his own family.
Sure.
And I was hoping they would have brought it back in full circle at the end, because he said he wanted to see Wakanda when he brought him up to the top. I don't know, I just felt that it should have been a little bit more in terms of him being embraced and giving him back.
You know, we have a lot of
to
spoilers.
his
I'm
people,
sorry.
allowing him.
But I think that spoke a lot to today's relations when it comes to black people born in America and black people born in Africa. I feel like that kind of relation is very similar. Not to say that all black people that are born in Africa treat blacks in America a certain way, but sometimes there is a thing where you're like, hey, my sister is like, wait, you don't look like us, you don't listen to the same music as us, like this isn't you, this is something you found, you know? So I feel like that was kind of, direct speaking to that relationship.
You know, I want to ask you all. I got the message in the beginning that there was no unity with the Africans and the descendants of Africans. Did you all get that? And that's why some of the people, were kind of upset with the king, which was the black.
Well, I didn't get that. I get that there were some upset with the king.
Some
But I
upset.
think overall, when he was making the point about the women, I think they were not so much loyal to the king, but they were loyal to Wakanda. They were loyal to the traditions. And if he became king rightfully, even if I don't like him, I will be loyal to him. And I think that to me was the stronger message, if that makes sense.
Go ahead.
I don't know I loved Okoye as well, and I loved Nakia. They were just, the strength of those women was incredible. And I did like Killmonger. I liked that even though he was a bad guy, I understood where he was coming from, because I felt like, he'd grown up in Oakland and knew about Wakanda because his dad had told him about it.
Okay.
And he was looking forward to going back one day. He was proud of who he was, but wasn't able to get over to his people because,
They
his
left
uncle,
him. Yeah,
they left him behind, and that was definitely a hurt thing.
Right.
But then he looked at, look at how terrible we're doing over here, like the black people over here.
Yeah,
and y'all got all this stuff.
going
Like
on. Yeah.
we need to work together. And it
we're
was
not
funny that
sharing it,
Nakia was kind of she was like feeling the same thing. Like we need to share the wealth.
Nakia had the same feelings, but she went about it a different way than
Exactly.
Killmonger.
Yeah.
And if Nakia was the one running the whole shebang, then everybody would have been good. That's my theory. Because I feel like Nakia had everything we loved about Killmonger and everything we thought T'Challa lacked.
Okay. You're watching Sister Talk TV show. We are live. And right now we are in the land of, everybody, Wakanda. I was fascinated with the women. I was fascinated with the women. Their strength. They were sarcastic. They were intelligent. They were funny. They talked back. I mean, I loved all
And
of
they
that.
were beautiful.
And they were beautiful. They reminded me of Michelle Obama and Barack Obama's relationship. I love the way Michelle Obama cut Barack Obama off when he was talking. I just loved it, you know. And he just let her have her way, you know. So, you know, let's really get deep into that. You know, there wasn't during the I think in the 1820s there was a all-female group of warriors. They were called the Dahomey.
Yeah.
The Kingdom
Amazon.
of Dahomey. Yes.
Yeah, and the costume director, she copied a lot of their
It
outfits.
seemed like that.
A lot of-
Yeah.
she
I
said,
interviewed her about that. Yeah.
yeah,
so
she said that. You know, I thought they were beautiful,
Yeah, there's a lot
magnificent
of research.
being.
The thing that gets me is that a lot of people are fascinated with the women, but it's no surprise, especially if you understand traditional African history in terms of the roles that women played in their tribes. It is not unusual, and there is no surprise that we were warriors. We were, and then if we transfer those behaviors, those characteristics into today, we're still powerful, strong. Oh, she's a strong black woman. Yes, we are. Traditionally, that is our heritage, that is our power, that is our strength. And it has nothing to do with anything but our ancestral genetic makeup of who we are. So it's not surprising. And I just love it. You know, thank you, because I see me. And I can teach my young ones and the young little girls that now you see yourself. Don't be surprised.
And that's
Embrace it.
And that's the key, that we need to see more of that, because traditionally when we do see shows or films, we often see some of the lighter looking women and whatnot. So to see our dark African sisters and whatnot getting the respect that they are truly need to get and whatnot, indeed. But as you said, traditionally in the black homes, a lot of times different roles and whatnot, there were no real definition, because the man did and the woman did whatever it took to make sure that their families were sustained.
Well, you know, go ahead. You go ahead.
And I just love that the strongness was a positive thing, because it's not, we don't see strong women, black women on film. It's just, it's always seen as a negative. I mean, and I love these actors, but it's like everybody, you know, on Scandal kind of hates Olivia Pope because she's a strong black woman. Everybody on How to Get Away with Murder kind of hates Viola Davis because she's a strong black woman. So it's like it was a chance for us to see our strength, you know, as beauty, as something that you want, not something that was negative, it was celebrated. So I really like that. And I also love the fact that with the Dora Manji, you gave a lot of young, dark-skinned black women actors a chance to, like, you know, jumpstart their career. One of the Dora Manjis actually, we had the same management. And it's like, I remember the first time I met her, like a few years ago, we were doing background for something. So from that, you know, little background role to, like, now you've been a part of, like, the biggest movie, you know, ever right now. That's amazing. She's out in LA, and she, like, it helps us, because, you know, the lack of representation, you know, is so prominent, you know, on film. And so now you've had this group of women that are now, you know, have a jump start. So that's great.
Let me hear your take on it. Of the dark-skinned women being cast as beautiful, sexy.
I think it, you know, again, is very important. I have always had a positive sense of self, and that comes from my family, a lot of dark-skinned women. And it's important, regardless of what hue you are, to know that you're beautiful, because when I grew up in predominantly white schools, and so I think that made it more important to know who I was, and
But
to
being
really,
that you grew up in predominantly white school, were you looked upon as, I'm just going to put it out there, not pretty because you were dark skinned, or beautiful because you were?
You know, I didn't understand or didn't even know about colorism until later on in life.
When you started auditioning?
Yeah. well, no, not even that. Like, just, it never, to me, it never was a thing of you're too pretty or you're not pretty because you're dark or whatever. I thought, for me, it was more just, I just don't like you because whatever.
Okay.
You know, I
So
never,
you grew up
like,
in-
it, and I was a very naive child growing up, I think. Because even when my mom or somebody would be like, oh, it's because you're black, I'm like, no, it's just they just don't like me. I don't know. You know. So
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that is a
and
good
so
thing.
looking back, there probably were moments when someone didn't think I was pretty because I was dark, or maybe they were like, you know, jealous or something because oh, she got that long hair. Is that her hair? Because she's dark skinned, she has to have long hair. Like, well, my mom know how to take care of hair, so so I've always had, you know, beautiful hair. But I've yeah, I think it's very, very important, very necessary for us to see not only just dark-skinned people, but with very African features. Like Denai Guerrera, you know, her lips and her nose are not like small and thin or whatever, and I'm only hearing she's so gorgeous, you know, and that's a great thing. That's a positive thing because so many children need to hear that.
Yeah, because that's a whole nother level of colorism too, is that, you know, if you are considered beautiful and have a darker hue, it's like your features, you know, it's like, well, she has long hair, most dark-skinned women don't have long hair, so she's beautiful, or she has a small nose, and dark-skinned women don't have small nose, so she's beautiful. Like, it's also like our features that we like to, you know, dictate over. So I love that all the women had, like, you know, strong features, you know, lips, nose, everything that, you know, makes us beautiful. So I feel like that was also very good.
Brothers, let me ask you all something. Do you all think that black women are treated really badly in America, not just by our white counterparts? I'm talking about within our own race.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm not I forget who it is who said it, but I mean, okay, in my opinion, sexism trumps racism. But if you're going to be a victim of both, what worse position could you occupy in society than being a woman of color?
Yeah.
I think one of my biggest questions with the film is that some people were so pro-Killmonger, and yes, we love him, we love the humanization of him, but you know, there were some guys that were really like, they made him the bad guy, and how does that make, you know, the black man look, and the radical black man look, and all this other stuff, but I was like, you have to ask yourselves, like, what would a Killmonger-ran society have been like for black women? Would that have been liberation for us too? Like, can you honestly say yes with that question? And I feel like that speaks to a lot of the dynamics when it comes to, you know, the revolutionaries, you know, now, and the activists now. It's like, you know, well, if we get everything we're supposed to get, and we're still treated like crap because we're women, then what is this freedom that you speak of?
Let's talk about the Me Too movement when it comes to black women. There was a journalist who says that nobody listens to the black women when they have been sexually harassed, sexually abused, raped, and what have you. It took white women to holler for society to pay attention. Do you all agree with that, or what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree?
Yeah, because
well, I'm sorry. Even if you relate it to when our young girls are missing. And the fact that the response, the police response, every minute that goes by, you actually are losing them. They can be across the country and never see them again.
Right.
So that is something that is real. It's unfortunate that, well, maybe fortunate, because this film has stimulated a dialogue amongst us about color, race, ethnicity, all of that. One of the things that is, and I'm sorry to move over, but it's making me wonder what's going to happen to us now, today, as a race of people. Are we actually being galvanized through this film? Are we actually going to come together and have these dialogues and erase them so that we can build unity, a power structure amongst ourselves? You know, it just that's what's been going on in my mind with this film since, because you see everyone come together. I got clothes, I got this. Here, sister, look at my hair, look at, you know, all of these things are happening. It's like, what's happening to us? Are we really coming together? Has this film empowered us?
So Veronica, you have a People's Film Festival coming up.
Yes.
So how many years? This is your 8th year?
This will be the 7th year.
7th year?
7th year.
Okay,
yeah.
when is that one happen?
So this festival this year will be May 31st to June 3rd at 7 Years Magic Johnson Theater, Maisel Cinema.
Okay.
And this year we're also going to be at the Martin Luther King Pavilion at Harlem Hospital, and we've partnered with the Harlem Arts Alliance this year because we're introducing. Last year we had the Tech People Expo. We brought in technology, virtual reality films. We had a VR lounge and just everything related to technology. I say the next level of storytelling, like he said, Afrofuturism. One of the things I find is that as this technology begins to develop, we're not privy to it or have access to it. So my thing was to make this available to us, to our community, for free. So that you can learn, because how would you know that you're not able or capable, or your creativity can grow on that realm?
So how can they get in contact with you?
Contact me at thepeoplesfilmfestival.com, and you can get all the information that you need there. And it's going to be exciting. Everybody has a story to tell, and we want to hear your stories. It's all about you. It's all about universality topics and subjects that are relative to us.
All right, Mike, how you doing?
I'm
so
okay.
You're the host of WBI Film Critic and all that. You have anything coming up?
Well, I do a regular show, 2 regular shows on WBA. I'm the film critic there. I do a late night show on Monday nights at midnight, and then I do a film review show Friday mornings. But I'm also a filmmaker.
Yes, I was about to say that. You're a filmmaker.
I have a film I'm in post for now. It's a documentary. It's a documentary about bad boys and why do women love them so much.
Oh, wow.
Very enlightening documentary, let me say that. And and there's a Facebook page for it, Bad Boys, a documentary. And like I said, I'm an Afrofuturist, so I've got, some projects in that vein as well. So.
Okay, Cherie, you have HBO, Deuce, Afro for Goddess, Diary of an Afro Goddess, which was great. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
So, what's happening with you?
Well, right now my solo show is still on tour. I'll be performing in Miami next month.
Wow.
I'll announce the actual location soon. So I'm looking forward to that. I also have started my filmmaking part of myself also. I recently wrote a film, and now I'm in the process of editing it. So that will be coming out soon. And yeah, I'm still auditioning and just
doing your thing.
Doing my thing.
Lori, fantastic. She auditioned for my play, musical gospel, Whose Side Are You On, about gang and gun violence. Fantastic singer. What's happening with you?
I recently did a show called March On for School Day Live at the Apollo Theater. We will be going to Delaware March 3rd to the show again, and then there's going to be a community tour happening as well. I don't have all the information on that yet, but it'll be between mid-March and mid-April.
Well, let us know, and then we will go ahead.
It's a wonderful.
Okay, Mark, what's happening?
Well, Mark McPhee, of course. We have the Harlem Liberation School at 2031 7th Avenue at the Raw Space Gallery. This week, we just recently had the real Black Panthers at our setting. We also had the Black Spades and also the Peacekeepers. Veronica was there, and also Tara Renee, who's sitting in the studio audience. Also, tomorrow we will have Brother Shaka. He will be speaking on the role of Black leadership in our community and activism. And then next week, Sunday, we're going to have a community conversation. There are a number of conversations that are not taking place within our communities that we need to talk about. And so that'll be next week.
So we're going to take a video break, and we'll be right back.
Seeing how the movement is, how it's taken on a life of its own, I realized that they anticipated something great. All of it's been very personal, just watching the kids experience it. And for me, I would say, they're two little kids, Ian and Taylor, who recently passed from cancer. And throughout our filming, I was communicating with them, knowing that they were both terminals. And what they said to me is their parents said they're trying to hold on till this movie comes. And to a certain degree, you hear them say that, and you're like, wow, that's like, I gotta get up and go to the gym. I gotta get up and go to work. You know, I gotta learn these lines. I gotta work on this accent. You know, seeing how devoted all of my castmates are, and knowing that will be something meaningful to them. But it's to a certain degree, it's a humbling experience because you're like, this can't mean that much to them, you know. But seeing how the world has taken us on, seeing how the movement is, how it's taken on a life of its own, I realized that they anticipated something great. And I think back now to a kid and just, you know, waiting for Christmas to come, waiting for my birthday to come, waiting for a toy that I was going to get a chance to experience, or a video game. I did live a life waiting for those moments. And so it put me back in the mind of being a kid, just to experience those two little boys' anticipation of this movie. And when I found out that they,
What are we doing? What are we doing? Take your time. What is it? Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Did you talk?
It's paused.
Well, it paused there, but as we can see from the video, that Chadwick Boseman was very affected by two kids that were going through cancer and all that, and I believe the kids died, and they did not get to see the movie and so forth. But I just want to say, when we did go to the movie, it was so many, we went during a matinee, and children came, I guess class trips, and it was just so great to see the smiling faces and the reaction and all that. But I want to talk about the Academy Awards before we get to the women, Mark. You know, so Mike, who do you think are there any black nominees that have a chance of winning?
That have a chance. I think Octavia Spencer has a chance of winning.
Really?
I do. I think. I don't think that Get Out's going to win in Best Director.
Really?
No, I think it's got a chance.
Get Out?
A chance of winning Best Screenplay, but I'm not sure. I think it depends. You know, the way the voting happens, it's kind of a crapshoot. It's not about how many people liked it, but how many people liked.
You have to campaign for it, which is
not only that, but the way the voting goes, it's you know, if you have category, you know, your first choice, second choice, third choice. So
is Mary J. Blige up for an Oscar?
No,
No, she's not.
she should have been, though. Yeah.
You think she should have been?
Yeah, that was
I
a
watched
good
that
movie.
movie waiting for Mary J. Blige to show up.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
And she
She was nominated for the Golden Globe,
she
right?
was,
Yeah,
she was. She
Okay.
was.
Did you enjoy it, Lori?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, Mary J. I haven't seen it yet.
Good. It's on Netflix.
Okay. So what other good movies that are out, black movies that are out, did you think that should have been nominated or that's nominated?
Why?
Do you think?
Besides Mudbound, you mean?
Yeah, Mudbound, yeah, Mudbound too.
No, Mudbound, Get Out. Those are two big
That's the
films. Two big
only
Academy
one.
Awards.
What happened to Tyree P. Henson, that movie,
Taraji.
Proud Mary? Did you all see that?
Yeah, they
I
said
didn't
that
get a
fell
chance
by
to
the
see
wayside.
it, but it I mean, it came out recently, so it probably would have to, if it, you know, was to get nominated, it would have to be like next year. But yeah, there was like I think it just didn't have the right advertising. That
But was
movie, it wasn't highly advertised.
Really? Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
I also
think
heard
too.
that it was, again, I didn't see it, which is rare, so I can't really speak on it, but I heard that it was disappointing because you expect a lot from Taraji because she set her own bar pretty high. So if it's not necessarily her fault, but if the script's not that good, I mean, Chadwick Boseman made the James Brown movie and it was tepid. You know?
Yeah, like he made it good, but the
He made-
writing just
exactly,
wasn't
exactly. So-
up to par. And so that's what sometimes the directing and the writing is really what helps these movies shine a lot, because black actors have been acting and been putting in the work and doing great jobs, but I feel like now there's a rise of black directors and writers that are finally getting, you know, the funds and the play that it's helping us tell stories better.
Perfect example is Roman J. Israel. That's Denzel. He gives a great performance.
I have not seen
But
that
the
yet.
movie,
Yeah.
the movie
But she
doesn't.
says there's
I
a
haven't seen
rise,
it.
but when you think about it, there really is not a lot of black directors, like at
Yeah.
all. I think the statistic, they just had something that said there was maybe 7. No, not even that. There were 6 black directors, and one of them was a woman. So that's 5. That's 6. That's in general. That's a recent report that came out. Statistics of diversity in our film industry. So it's really unfortunate because we're not seeing a lot of us. The interesting thing is that you're talking about the Oscars. I remember when Viola Davis, and she said when she was the first African American woman to win an Emmy, and she said, I would get more of these awards if you write scripts for me.
Right.
We're not
You
there.
know,
We're
I
not
had an issue
represented,
with-
and usually when we are with the directorship, we're paired with a black actor. We're categorized and we're pushed into shooting or actually our black audiences, whereas this is why Black Panther is so good, because it's not just that one particular audience that we are relating to, but it's unfortunate. There has been no change in our
I think
wouldn't say
this
there's been no
movie will,
change.
I think this
How
movie
much?
will help the change too.
very
I'm
little.
going to respond.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Ryan also mentioned that in the making of Black Panther, he had a lot of young black filmmakers, writers, directors on set with him like every day. So I feel like just this movie and them being able to be a part of this movie and have their name, you know, as a part of the team will help them be able to do more things and
Will
for more
allow Hollywood
things.
to take a chance on them? Is
Well,
that-
No, just for them to create more products. I mean, you know, as far as like, you know, getting a film made that can go into Sundance and different things like that, and just a way to work themselves up. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you know, I took kind of issue when she made that statement, and she had made it a couple of times. I don't think the scripts are getting to her. I don't think
Absolutely.
The scripts
are
are
getting
being
to.
written for her.
No,
I think
disagree
that-
with you
yeah,
1,000%. I
yeah.
can tell you as a filmmaker and knowing a lot of writers, there are a lot of great scripts
Yeah.
that will never get that far. Because A, you know, if it's an independent film or if it's this or if it's that, their agent would much rather get the big payday for a small
That's true.
part in such and
Especially
such.
if you,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
especially if
And
you
she's
get
an
that
A-lister.
much money.
And she's an A-lister.
Yeah.
I mean, she
Okay.
recently said, I know we're going for Viola Davis, but she recently said that everybody tells her she's the Black Meryl Streep, she's the Black Meryl Streep. She said, how come I don't get the Black Meryl Streep
Right.
money?
Hello.
Okay, let's go to the sisters. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the sisters. Okay. The first question I want to ask everybody is that the women of the Black Panther movie, they were intentionally cast as dark-skinned women. They were looking for dark-skinned women to cast. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, if we
It was exclusively no brown, no light.
Good.
That's good.
I really don't see
Look at
anything
that.
wrong with that.
There was one, and everybody called her out. She was like, "What is that one light-skinned one? Where'd she come from?"
She got
But we come in all shades.
But we come in all shades, and we're not
Yeah.
usually represented in all shades. It's usually,
Exactly.
you know, one look that's represented. So I feel like this was a major move, seeing black women as beautiful, even from the hairstyles.
Right.
You know, it's used to, if we have our hair, you know, straight or long or whatever, that is considered beautiful. So you had like dark skin, you had short hair, no hair. So I feel like that all these were just like direct challenges as to what
The
you know the
standards of beauty
standards
are.
of beauty
Yeah,
are,
right.
because it was told that like, you know, that's not going to appeal universally, and this movie is selling out
Right.
you know, all over.
Yeah.
But I think he was also trying to be as real as possible and taking it back to traditional African women warriors. And if we go back to Africa during that time in the 1800s, when we had the Kandake, when we had I'm drawing a blank right now. They were dark-skinned women. Our culture has not been infiltrated at that point. If you know what I mean, I'm just trying to.
Okay, we are live. You can call in the show, 212-757-1393, 212-757-1393. We'd love to hear your thoughts about the Black Panther movie, The Land of Wakanda. And we do have a phone call. Call up. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, we're going to move on. Okay, let's talk, Mark. Let's talk about let's look at the role and strength of these women.
Well, I could say two things. One, I think with the combination of Wonder Woman and this, I think the term "fights like a girl" will become extinct. Okay, but I also think they were such interesting characters that they, to me, almost stole the movie right from under Black Panther.
Yeah.
I found them kind of more interesting than T'Challa.
How about yourself, Lori?
I loved the strength of the women. I love that they were the first line of defense, you know. And someone was saying, well, he was dependent on them to be, you know, his fighters. I'm like, yeah, because oftentimes we are not given credit for our strength. You know, it's like, oh, she can cook, she can have babies, she can, you know, like all the household things. But, oh, don't send her to war. Like, she can't fight. But,
That's a lie, right?
Right. But just, I love that our strength and our leadership was on display. And I want a poster of that moment where Okoye told, I forget his name.
I know the real name is Daniel. I can't remember his name in the movie.
Yeah.
But she was
Right.
like,
But she's like,
he's like, you
stand
kill me.
down.
He's like, I kill you for the, you know, for Wakanda. Like,
Wakanda in a
it is
minute.
what it is, you know?
He submitted.
Yes.
He was on his knee.
Yes.
He said, let's take this phone call. Caller, you watch your sister talk. What's your name? What do you have to say? Caller?
Hi,
Hi, what's your name?
my name is Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer. So, hi, how you doing? Say hello to my cast. My cast.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. So, what do you have to say?
Well, I have to say that it was wonderful.
Thank you.
You know, the movie, and I found that, or I should say, one of the most wonderful things about it was the fact that it represented women from the diaspora. I myself, I'm of Caribbean heritage, and I was so thrilled to see that there was someone from my country, Guyana. There was one of the stars, male stars, is from Tobago, which is part of the Twin Island Republic, Trinidad and Tobago. We have another star from Zimbabwe. So I thought that aspect of it was great to see. In a sense, it was not intended to be a Pan-African movie, but yet it represented different aspects of the diaspora. So that's one thing that I thought was very remarkable.
Right.
And then the second thing that I thought was remarkable was that you know, we saw many different traditions being represented in the movie, and for those people who have studied ancient African history, they were able to relate to it. So it's a teaching moment as well as an entertaining moment, in addition to all the other things the panelists have said.
Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's talk about the treatment. I know you talked about earlier, Mark, how some of the guys here, it's like, I'm gonna take it all. This is what happens, you know, you don't love me, you don't do this. Killmonger's character was just raw. And the kings, the men of Wakanda, they seem to treat their women just totally different. What are your thoughts about that? Can we, you know, talk about that, those scenes or what have you?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the dynamic between the men and women definitely spoke to how Africa was before it was, you know, colonized. Where, like, you know, if you look back, you know, there was, you know, even from the spirituality, there was a man god and a woman god. You know, it was just like, you know, there was much more of like we balance off of each other, whereas opposed to, you know, once we came here and, you know, the patriarchy and all that, you know, got into our culture. And so, like, I feel like Killmonger's character spoke to that a lot, you know, where it's like, if like he, you know, didn't have a lot of, you know, respect for women and didn't, you know,
he grew up in this culture.
he grew up in this culture. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I feel like that spoke to a lot. And the dynamic between Killmonger and the women, you know, is directly, you know,
what got me is that Killmonger wanted to be a king without a queen, but the king, the Black Panther, he was king, but he wanted Nakia to be his queen. Yeah, so I just thought that was, you know, but expound on what you were saying earlier, Mark, about the difference between today's young men and yesterday's?
Well, I think, you know, I think our young men today, because they haven't had proper role models, so they don't know how to treat a woman, first and foremost. I think what the movie showed is the unilaterality between the black men and black women in you know, in Wakanda, and that, you know, you had male warriors and you had female warriors. So, you know, it was the whole concept of it takes a village. And when that's what they practice, and you saw it when they went to war, because the women were right there along fighting alongside of the men. I think it's very important that those images be talked about. And our caller just spoke about a teachable moment. I think another teachable moment is that after the movie, you know, we sit down with our kids and we begin to tell our kids, yes, this was a movie, this is great, a Marvel film, a superhero, but let us teach you about the real Black Panthers and what they did for our community in terms of the housing programs, in terms of the health programs and the feeding programs. Those are important. And what this movie can very well be is a movement. We saw Black folks. My 83-year-old stepmother in Florida went with 40 other members of my family to go see this movie. You see groups of people. You have people like Steve Harvey and Cheryl Underwood that made monies available so that poor kids can go see this movie. And that's great. But then the brother talked about being a filmmaker. There are filmmakers out here. Matter of fact, there are filmmakers on this panel. Right, Veronica? And Tara Renee? We have people in our community that need those funds, that need the money and the backing. So just as we can get up and go and support Marvel's film, we need to support Black businesses as well as Black filmmakers that are trying to get their films out there. So this could be a teachable moment for our brothers and sisters that let's come together on some real life issues. We have an issue right now in the Bronx, New York, right here, where a principal didn't want her English teacher to teach the kids about the Harlem Renaissance. We have a situation at a Catholic
But you know
school.
something? That's what I like about these two brothers, really, Michael Jordan and Mr. Kugler. I mean, they came, you know, together not even before the Black Panther. They had Fruitvale together. Then they went on to Creed, and now after this, they're doing something else about African Kings and all that. But you know, I do want to stick. I still want to talk about the characters. Speaking of the Black Panther, there's something going on in the social media saying that they think that Killmonger was a revolutionary. What do you all think?
Well, I got to speak on that a little bit because Breitbart, I don't know if you all know what Breitbart is, this right-wing publication. The film critic there felt that the obvious allegory was that Black Panther was Trump and that Killmonger is Black Lives Matter.
I heard that. Break that down, please.
Breaking it down is because Trump represents nationalism and closing our borders, which is
he said Killmonger was Trump.
No, he's saying that Black Panther was Trump.
Right.
Okay, and so to him, and to certain mindset, through a certain lens, that's what that means. It's not about so much being proud of your culture, it's about keeping everybody else out of whatever it is you have. And Killmonger represents to them that revolutionary you're talking about, that wants to fight. And that's such a misinterpretation of what Black Lives Matters is. But it also is instructive in how they see us and how our struggle is perceived, or not perceived really, by let's say the dominant culture.
Or how they're able to accept our success.
Exactly. It has to be something to do with
something so that we can say, okay, this is this and this is that. Okay, we got it.
Now we can enjoy it. We can enjoy it. We can pay for that. Yes, I know what you're saying.
I feel like another lens that for me, what the movie represents, I feel like to me, Killmonger kind of represented what everybody likes to say the Black Panthers were about, you know, angry, violent, ready to kill. And I feel like towards the end, you see T'Challa with building the community center, doing all that. It represents what the Black Panther Party really did for us, as far as like setting up stuff in our communities and like, you know, making sure we were good.
Why couldn't he just simply be a person that was hurt?
He could have different ways to look at it. Totally,
in its true essence, he was a young man that was hurt, that was abandoned by his family. So therefore, there's a revenge aspect there. It had nothing to do, because he still wanted to embrace and love Wakanda. That never changed. That was his essence. And when he brought him up there to the rooftop to see how beautiful it was, he said, I'm going to keep it like that because I don't want to be colonized. I don't want what happened to my people to happen to me. Let me just go as it is. I mean, he truly loved and embraced his people.
I also think, I agree with you 100%, and I also think that, you know, and that's good writing. You know, no
Yes.
villain really sees themselves as a villain.
No.
You know, he
Nobody
feels
wants to
feels
kill and
that
hurt.
he's absolutely, and the idea that we as the audience could identify, especially as a black audience, could identify with his anger, with his frustration. We could identify with every single character in that movie.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
to me what good science fiction does. That's what a good movie does. But good science fiction, or in this case Afrofuturism, has something to say about the human condition. And that comes back to the universality you're talking about. Because, you know, part of the reason that historical black dramas never make money, no matter how good they are, because black folks don't want to go to a movie and feel bad and look at their ancestors being treated badly. Who wants to do that? Most people do not. White people don't want to go and go, oh my God, this is what my ancestors did. They don't want to, and I don't believe in white guilt. I think it's white shame.
Ooh,
So, but
I like
when
that.
you
I
can
like that.
tell a story that still talks about these issues that are present today, only science fiction and comedy can do that.
You have something to say, Mark?
Yeah, and I was about to say, in Agent Ross, we saw white supremacy at its highest, because here goes this white CIA agent who thought that he was going to come in and tell everybody, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And, you know, the brothers and sisters from Wakanda, they was like, no, white man.
Go colonizer.
You know, and the sister
Like,
called
we're
him
gonna
by
tell
his
you.
name, called him
Right,
by
right.
his name, a colonizer. But then Agent Ross came around because he saw what, you know, what was at stake. And so he began to give information, just as the young sister started giving information about the strength of the vibranium and whatnot. But in the beginning, you saw that white supremacy, whereas the white man dictates everything, and it wasn't going down like that. So I definitely appreciate that.
So does it mean we're all human?
It
We
means that
all have that humanism, that humanist aspect.
And I
that
just, yeah,
we
it
reach back
does.
to, yeah.
Yeah, but I just like the way they flip that easily. Like so often you see like the token black person in a movie, and like this is, and it kind of follows along. Like, okay, this is a story, you're just gonna be this, and I feel like in this movie it's the opposite. It was like, with this black cast, you're gonna be the token white boy, and this is like, you know, what we're gonna do with your role, like in this. So I like seeing that too.
I like that.
Do anybody remember the last line in the movie, the Killmonger? I'm sorry, I'm still Killmonger.
I believe Killmonger was,
great.
he was basically saying that he would rather die than to live in chains.
Right.
Because brother was telling him, look, I can save you. It doesn't have to end this way. I can save you. And he
was
said, no,
hoping
my
he
brother,
saved him.
let me go.
'Cause you're gonna put me in bondage
You're gonna put me
anyway.
in bondage. And so therefore, I would rather die free than to live in bondage.
But they
Yeah.
knew death was better than bondage, and that's the same mentality that our ancestors said. He said, "Bury me like my ancestors that jumped off the slave ship." You know, like there were the slaves that were like, "No, like I'd rather be dead." And even you hear stories about slave mothers like killing their child. It's like, I'd rather my baby be dead than live
I've
through
been
this.
6 foot in my
So,
grave before
you
I'd be
know,
a slave.
Anybody else have any last?
Powerful.
Yes, I love that when we were talking about the way that the women and the men treated each other. I love the respect across the board, not only just with the men and the women, but with the old and the young. There was a respect that, you're a kid, but you know what to do, with the vibranium, and the elder was there. I believe the actress is 92 years old.
Right.
I'm like, that's amazing,
Right.
But she's not saying, I need to be in charge of this meeting because I'm the oldest,
Hey,
Yeah.
we're going to have to close the show. Enlightening conversation, very fun conversation. I just want to give my shout out to Zakizi Starman for creating this masterpiece show, TV talk show, Sister Talk TV show. I want to say, like us on Facebook, Sister Talk TV show, SISTAH. Hit us up on Twitter, Sister Talk TV, and Instagram. We're getting on Instagram together, Sister Talk TV show. Thank you, crew, and all, again, everybody, thank you so much. I'm wishing you peace. I am Deetra Kelsey, and I am wishing you peace, love, and remember to stay in the light.